Just another day. I know it's been a while since I have last posted a Vlogmas, maybe a little over a week, but we're back. Setting that goal of every day was a task at hand, and you live and you learn. Doing a Vlogmas every day, editing it every day, it takes a lot of time in conjunction with also living your life. But my goal now is to at least get 15, maybe 16 videos in, which is at least half of the month worth of videos. But you know what time it is. It's Monday morning, and guess where we're headed? You got it right. We're headed to the gym to work this body out. But we have a great topic today for this Vlogmas video, and that is, I want to give you 5 reasons why you should bet on yourself. 5 reasons why you should bet on yourself. And so we're getting ready to head to the gym. I'm back. We're going to get this Vlogmas thing done. At least 16 videos out of the 31 days, I think is pretty good. And so we're going to make it happen. We're going to go work out. We're going to talk about today's topic, 5 reasons why you should bet on yourself. And I'm going to give you more on why I decided to bet on myself after being laid off. So let's head to the gym and we'll have that conversation. I know y'all see me drink this most mornings in the video. I'm going to tell you what's in this little drink before I go to the gym. I put in this is beetroot powder, creatine, and a green powder, and I mix it with one of those sparkling waters so that I can kind of get my energy going and be ready to hit the gym once I get to the gym. So just kind of wanted to share that with you, that you see me drinking this concoction most mornings if I put it in the video, and so I thought I'd share what's in this drink. Beetroot powder, creatine, and a green powder just to get me going, because I fast every morning and eat my first meal around about 12:30. So that's what I have. All right, we made it to the gym. We always start our workout with the Stairmaster or the elliptical. Just depends on how I feel each day, but typically on Mondays, we always start out on the Stairmaster. But I figured I'd start our conversation out now instead of waiting to get to the house and all that different stuff. We'll just kind of talk throughout the day. As I shared in the car, we're talking about 5 reasons why it's important to bet on yourself. However, we're not going to start with listing those reasons. I'm just going to remind you a little bit about how I got to this point. And I just remember at the age of 36, being laid off my job, actually asking to be dismissed right at the moment. And I sat in my car and I was just thinking about what my next steps were going to be, thinking about what I was going to do after not having a job. And I remember it very vividly, sitting in my car that day, and that small voice said, bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. And in that moment, I fully understood that betting on myself meant that I was about to go on a journey of identifying and reevaluating everything that I knew life to be. Reevaluating everything I knew about myself. Because one of the things that I was very sure about was that living or being in corporate life it came with this idea of always trying to prove something, always trying to be something, and it wasn't always authentic and in alignment with who I truly was. And so I had a responsibility to learn more about me. And that's what being laid off really helped me to really start to figure out, was who was Markeith? Who was Markeith outside of a title? Who was a Markeith outside of degrees? Who was Markeith outside of a social network? Who was Markeith outside of having a corner office? And being stripped of my job was really the beginning of me betting on myself, betting on the talents and the gifts God placed within me, betting on the growth, betting on who God created me to be. And so, as I really pondered that thought of betting on myself, I realized that I was being called higher. I was being called to an elevated space of really learning who I was and who I needed to become. I don't know if this was a good idea or not, but we're kind of talking. But I wanted to kind of start out the video that way because I think that it's important to always give a little background to that. But I'm gonna finish this Stairmaster. I'm gonna go for about 12 minutes, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more on the importance of betting on yourself. All right, so just got off the Stairmaster. Today is a push day. And so I pretty much during the week, I'll do a push, pull, leg, and then push, pull with some legs over the last 2 days. I do 5 days a week working out and take off the weekends to rest. So here's today's workout. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see it, but these are my workouts for today. These are all push exercises. Basically, I use this app called Fit Physique or Fit Pro, I think. And it's an AI app, basically keeps track of my weight and the sets that I do. So we're about to get started with this push day, but we're gonna continue our conversation even while I'm at the gym. So let's make it happen. You know, betting on yourself really requires you to look in the mirror and really self-evaluate who are you, right? Betting on yourself really forces you to, acknowledge your shortcomings, but to also acknowledge all that you have. And as I was in that moment of betting on myself and in that moment of saying that I'm going to go after it, it didn't necessarily mean that I knew how. It didn't necessarily mean that I was the most confident. But what it meant for me was that I was going to take my life in my own hands, that I was going to tell my life what I wanted life to do. And that's where a lot of us go wrong sometimes, is that we allow other people, other entities, other sources to dictate to us what life should be. And when I made the decision to bet on myself, it was me dictating what I wanted my life to be. It was me dictating what I was saying that I wanted. And a lot of times we have a hard time saying what we want. We do so much for others. We get into this selfless way of living, and we find out that if we're not intentional about creating the life that we want, creating the joy that we want, creating the happiness that we want, then we end up living our lives for other people. And that was what betting on myself meant. When I said those words, it meant that I had to change the way that I looked at life. I had to change the way that I was dealing with life. I had to change the way that I was grabbing life by the handlebars, for lack of a better words, and saying, we're gonna go in this direction. I know what everybody else is doing. I know what the world is saying that you should go after. I know what America is saying about the American dream, but what about my dream? What about your dream? That's what betting on yourself meant for me. All right, so let me get back to this. Hey, now. So what changed after I decided to bet on myself? What was different about life after I decided to bet on myself? One of the things that actually changed after I bet on myself, I got uncomfortable. You know, prior to getting laid off, I was a little comfortable and I needed to stretch myself. Something else that changed was that I started taking more risk on the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations that I had. I started to look for new opportunities. I started to put myself out there more and speaking on stages, or when people would ask me to do things when I would normally say, I'll pass, I started saying yes to the things that I knew I wanted to do, but I just wasn't comfortable in doing. What changed? Confidence changed. My confidence was being elevated, was being built. And so betting on yourself transforms your mindset, transforms your life. And that is so important, that sometimes we can get into the status quo and we don't do a lot of changing, we don't do a lot of adjusting, we don't do a lot of growing. And I grew a whole lot when I decided to bet on myself. So betting on yourself only really benefits you. It benefits you and the people around you. Something else that changed that, a lot of times we can have a hard time dealing with, and that is friends change, environments change, surroundings change. And so I want you to know that when you bet on yourself, a lot will change. People will start thinking that you're acting funny. People will start saying that you changed, but you have to be willing to press beyond all of that potential criticism and start saying, this is for me. This is for me, and I'm going after what it is that I want. So I'm gonna stop the conversation right here for now. And then once I get home, we'll share a little bit more about the 5 reasons why you should bet on yourself. 5 reasons why you should bet on yourself. And just close it out then. But wanted to kind of get started in the gym to kind of just show you a little bit of my workout and talk to you instead of waiting till later. But we'll talk a little bit more once I get home. All right, where does the day go? I mean, this morning I was talking to you about our topic for today, which was betting on yourself. And I said, once I got home, I was going to share with you the 5 reasons why you should bet on yourself. And here it is, almost evening. And so time flies when you're having fun and when you are extremely busy. But we are back and we're going to cover those 5 topics. I'm in my home office, in my podcast studio area. And so I figured I'll just come to you this way and share with you. I even have a few little notes here on the side. So if I glance over, I'm just looking at my notes to share with you these 5 reasons. But earlier, we were just talking about this idea of betting on yourself. And I gave you a little bit more of a background around how I bet on myself and what I had to do in order to move forward after my job layoff. And so I wanted to come home and settle in so I could share with you these 5 reasons why you should bet on yourself. 5 reasons why betting on yourself is a good thing. And I just believe that we all have something higher that's calling us. We all have a higher purpose in which we are supposed to be performing in this world. And my job layoff simply was something that was ushering me in to my greater purpose. And so let's just hop into these for today's Vlogmas video. Number one, it says that betting on yourself is important because no one is coming to save you. That's real good. Nobody is coming to save you. And so if you don't bet on yourself, at the end of the day, nobody else is going to bet on you. Waiting for permission, recognition, the right time always will keep you stuck. The only person who can fully advocate for your vision is you. When you stop outsourcing your future to jobs, titles, and systems, you take back control. And so betting on yourself helps you to take control. And that was what I was sharing with you earlier while I was at the gym, is that it allowed me to take control of my life, take control of my time, take control of my dreams, my aspirations. And now I'm at the steering wheel, steering my life in the direction that I want to go. And so betting on yourself allows you to take control, allows you to take the reins and direct and to navigate your life towards the direction that you want it to go, because nobody is coming to save you. I want you to repeat that to yourself. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. The second reason why it's important for you to bet on yourself is because you have the lived experience that no one else has. You have the lived experience that no one else has. There are experiences and things that you've gone through in your own life that are specific to you. Now, it might be similar to somebody, but nobody else is you. Nobody else has your DNA. Nobody else has your particular experience. And it is through your experience that other people will get inspiration and get motivated based on how you overcame, how you went through. what lessons you learn from the experience. Here in my notes, it says that you already survived layoffs, that's me, transitions, family pressures, career pivots. That gives you a powerful lens and perspective. When you bet on yourself, you stop underestimating the value of your own wisdom. The fact of the matter is that me going through that job layoff developed greater wisdom within me, developed greater character within me, developed greater person within me because I went through the experience. I didn't get stuck in the experience, but I went through the experience. Betting on yourself helps you to understand that your lived experiences are teaching moments, not just for you, but for other people. That's why I'm here encouraging you to get out there, put yourself out there, start creating that content, start your YouTube channel, start sharing your story, start sharing your experience and your expertise because only you can share it the way only you can share it. Reason number three for betting on yourself is because the market rewards visibility and not just skill. Here's what that means. That skill, yes, is important. Skill is what you will perform to help whomever it is that you're helping. But visibility is what will help people know that you have the skill. That's why it's important to put yourself out there. Being great at what you do isn't enough anymore. You have to have the visibility in order for people to know that you are great at what you do. It takes me back to when I first got started and I wanted to get those speaking engagements. The more speaking engagements I accepted, the more speaking engagements came. The more individuals that I helped with my consulting, the more referrals I received in order to help consult other organizations and other business owners. And so you have to put yourself out there in order for you to be seen. People trust what they see. If you don't bet on yourself and show up consistently, someone with half your skill, listen to this. If you don't bet on yourself and show up consistently, someone with half your skill but twice your confidence will take the opportunity meant for you. I'm telling you that there are people who simply have more confidence. They're not more skillful than you. They're not smarter than you. They're not more intelligent than you, but they have potentially more confidence than you. The people who have the confidence to put themselves out there are the ones who win. It's not always about skill. It's not always about how smart you are. It's not always about who you know. It's who knows you based on the skill that you have. Betting on yourself should push you out so that you're more visible with the skill that you have. The fourth reason why you should bet on yourself, you've already built for others. People are already asking you questions. How do you do? Or how to? You're someone that people already come to for a specific thing. And so you have to stop and ask yourself the question, why are they asking me all the time? What is it that they see in me to do whatever that job is? You've helped companies, you've helped bosses, you've helped teams. Now it's time to use those same skills to build your own platform, brand, and your own income stream. When you bet on yourself, your work creates legacy, not just paychecks. That's what we all should be wanting to do. That's what we all should desire to do is to create a legacy, not just paychecks. The money is great. Don't get me wrong. The money is great, but creating legacy, creating impact. Impact is what people will remember. Impact is the result in which you are helping individuals. You're helping them to transform it with your product, with your service, whatever it is that you're offering, with your art, with your music, with your talent, with your professional expertise, your skill. You're helping to make impact on individuals. And at the same time, yes, you're earning money, but you're also creating legacy. And then the fifth reason why you should bet on yourself is regret hits harder than failure. That many times we regret not having done something that we knew we should have done. We regret not having put ourselves out there and experience whatever pain may come along with putting ourselves out there, being uncomfortable, than regretting not doing it. Trying and failing teaches you something. Waiting and watching teaches you nothing. Most people don't regret what they tried, they regret what they talked themselves out of. Don't fear don't let fear have the final say. We can't let fear have the final say. I believe it was Joyce Meyer many years ago. She said, feel the fear, but do it anyway. Whatever it is that you desire to do, feel the fear, but do it anyway. Putting yourself out there, betting on yourself requires you to be brave and courageous, knowing that it's not all going to work out the way that you think it should, but ultimately it will work out. I like that right there. It's not all going to work out the way you think you should or the way you think it should, but it's all going to work out ultimately. 5 reasons why you should bet on yourself. Here's the truth. You don't have to do everything right now, but the fact is that you have to make a decision. And ultimately, a decision simply is saying there are no other options. This is my decision. Everything else is obsolete. And so, what I want you to do today as a call to action, I want you to share in the comments. Share in the comments. Let me know what's one thing that you have in mind that you're saying, I'm going to bet on myself with this one thing. What's that one thing that you're going to follow through on and that you are going to bet on yourself and put yourself out there to do? That was the purpose of this video, this Vlogmas, was to one, get back on track, which I am back on track, and we are shooting for a goal to at least have done 16 days out of the 31 of Vlogmas. Yes, it was my intent to do all 31 days, but I didn't necessarily check my schedule and actually do what I needed to do to make sure that I could actually perform it. But the fact is, I'm back on doing what I need to do, and I'm making a new goal. I didn't give up. I didn't quit. I just took a break, but I'm back. And we're going to at least do half or more of the days this month of Vlogmas. This is actually day 10 of Vlogmas, and we're going to complete this assignment. But make sure that you share in the comments. Let me know what's one thing you're going to bet on yourself on. Until the next time, just remember this: always shoot for the top because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. Take care.